Hello everybody, Ron, aka Daddy Geek, back finally with the Disney Infinity 2.0 toy box tutorial. Yes, I know it has been a very, very long time, far too long since I did a Disney Infinity 2.0 tutorial, but here we are, finally, back in action. As you know, I was having a few issues with the game itself, and also I was having some problems with my recording devices, so add those two together and it's been a while. So anyway, behind me here I have this village. Now I actually had this tutorial planned a long time ago. I had this set up and just never got around to doing it because of all the problems. But anyway, I've been getting back into the game, finding ways to get around some of the problems I've been having, and here we are, back with some more tutorials. So anyway, behind us here, you see a nice little village. This looks like a nice little fantasy village back there as Mickey fires off some fireworks. And I brought Mickey out because this tutorial is going to cover some movie magic, so why not bring out Sorcerer Mickey? What we're going to do in this video is we are going to take a look at basically making a cutscene or telling a story, doing some storytelling with the toys that are available to us in the toy box. So we're going to cover camera angles, camera changes, some special effects. So basically think of it as a lights, camera, action type deal. Might be a little less heavy on the logic and a little bit more on just the application of the logic and the toys to, you know, get that cutscene done. Alright, so anyway, this is already set up. Besides the village actually being placed behind us here, I already have all the logic toys connected, everything in place. So we're going to give a demonstration first of what it's going to look like when it's all done, and then we'll go reload the village before all the logic toys were placed, and we will see how to get everything connected and get everything done. Alright, so the whole idea is here comes Mickey. He's walking up to this village. Everything looks nice and peaceful, looks nice and quiet. Not so much. As we see, the lights dim. We got Jafar floating over top of the town center saying he's going to kidnap all the townspeople. And poof, there we go. We get one camera change, another one. Those townspeople get whisked away. And then we go back to Jafar. And he says a few kind words for us, and once again, poof, he disappears, and we go back to the normal camera view. And he's left us some enemies, so we'll take care of them real quick. I have not played with Mickey quite a long time here. Let's see. I need to level him up. Come back here. Oops. And we should have one more room. There we go. And as you can see, there we go. We defeated the enemies. The lights come back up, and the evil music stops, and we're back to normal. Now, from this point here, you could go ahead and, I don't know, continue this whole storyline. Maybe there was one villager still left. He pops out. He or she pops out and says, you know, oh, you know, Jafar has escaped down the well. That's where the enemies popped out of. You could use the toy box door to whisk the player away to a new level by entering the well, and maybe going underground and chasing down Jafar and rescuing the townspeople. But anyway, what we're going to do now is, first let's just take a look. This is what you're looking at as far as all these toys, to get all these different camera angle changes, special effects. It looks like a lot, but really it's not. It's not all that difficult, because basically once you start going here, when you do one or two cameras, basically it all just becomes a domino effect and you're just repeating the same thing. But as you can see here, we got quite a few cameras, some locators, and we have some special effects generators, time delayers, and trigger area. And back here we have all of our setups for things like replayers, and we have our sky changer and our boombox back there. But I'll get to all that in a few seconds here. First thing we're going to do is we are going to load up a blank village. So what we'll do is here we'll go into my toy box saves, and we will find the village, and we will go ahead and save. Or load, I should say. No. So now we'll go through the whole process, the whole thought behind placing these cameras and making the logic connection.
Are you up for another adventure?
So as you can see in this village, all we have is just the blank village, just the building itself, and I also have this invisible platform there for Jafar to stand on when he's floating above the village. I honestly should raise this up a little bit to make it look like he's kind of floating in the air, but for right now, we'll save the time with that, because I can sit here and my OCD will kick in and I'll get it just right. So let's skip that and just get on with the tutorial. Alright, so first things first, we're going to work on the concept here. We're going to work on the camera. So what we want is we're going to, again, have Mickey come over the bridge. He's going to enter a trigger area, and then that's going to set off our cameras. And we're going to do camera changes, a couple different camera swings, and some special effects, etc. So what we're going to do here is, first things first, we actually need to get our townspeople out in place and have them set up in a way that we can make them disappear. And we're going to use replayers for that. Instead of putting them way back there out of the way, we're just going to place them right here so we don't have to go as far. Alright, so we're going to go to Creativitoys, and we are going to need a replayer, which is in here somewhere, and a couple switches so we can activate the replayer. So we'll plop that down there, and we will grab a couple switches. I call them switches. They're called triggers. I call them switches. Same deal. 2, 3, and 4. Now, if you're not familiar with replayers, what they do is when you activate them, they start to record, and they will record anything that you do, any toys that you place, I should say, not anything that you do, because that's a key thing here that we'll touch on in a second, but they record anything that you place within the world. And then once you stop it, it stops recording, and then from there you can either have it cleared or play it back. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to make some logic connections real quick here so we can make the replayer work. So new logic connection, stepped on, player, any, to our replayer, and we're just going to say start recording. And we're going to do, just go down the list here, we're going to do new logic connection, stepped on, player, any, and back to the replayer again, and we're going to say stop. And then this one will be clear. And the final one will be playback. Come on, Mickey. Get that switch. There we go. Now, if things go well, I will not need to use playback, but I kind of do it out of a force of habit. So you have your, it's like your old cassette players. You have, start, stop, record, and playback. So think of it that way. Think of it as an old recorder. So first, okay, so now that we got this set up, what we're going to do is we're going to step on the switch, and our replayer is going to start recording. So we're going to go into our editor here. We're going to look for our, let's see, we have Marvel Townspeople, Disney Infinity Townspeople, and we're going to use Mad Hatter and Carl Fredricksen for this. Now, one thing I want you to note, take note of here real quick, and you might already notice, is I'm using sidewalks, and I just thought it looked kind of good, kind of looked like it fit into this village, but as you can see, sidewalks have a collision box. That's that red outline that you see there. And so that means we can't place our townspeople there because they won't fit there. Well, they'll fit, but the collision box is interfering. So keep that in mind when you're placing your buildings, because originally I had these buildings placed closer to the sidewalk, and then there was no room to actually fit the townspeople in between. So just keep that in mind. So right now you'll see that he does fit here. We'll put him there, and we'll put Carl a little bit over here. Now what we need to do is, now that they are placed, we are going to stop the recorder, and we're going to target our townspeople, and maybe, hey, stop moving, We're going to target our townspeople, and we're going to tell them to stand still. So that's under behavior, And we'll go down here to stand still before he takes the jump off the cliff. Easy there, big guy. Hey, stay away from my recording equipment. And let's see, we should have Carl around here somewhere. There he is, wandering off. And same thing with him, we're just going to tell him to stand still. Now that we got them to stand still, we can pick them up and place them back down, and they'll stay where we put them. So let's grab him, we'll put him there. And we need to grab a hold of the Mad Hatter we left by our recording equipment here. Ah, wrong thing. I'm going to pick him up and grab him. There we go. We'll grab him. We'll plop him down there. And now, as you see, they will stand still and hopefully cooperate with us for the rest of the tutorial. So there they go. Now, if you're wondering why we did not let it keep recording when we made them stand still and replaced them, that is because replayers will not record actual logic itself. So if we had to have left that replayer recording, when we went to tell Carl or the Mad Hatter to stand still, we would have got our warning message saying that the replayer will not record this action. So remember, the replayer only records actual placement of objects, not the logic that goes along with them. So that's why we recorded placing them, then we hit the stop button, and then we went and tweaked them. We went and gave them their behaviors, we went and put them back where they belong. So now they'll stay there. And really the main reason we're using a replayer for them anyway is just so we can actually use the clear command, so it makes it look like they were disappeared, they were vanished. Alright, so now we're going to do this. We're going to repeat this process 2 more times, once for the other set of townspeople and once for Jafar himself. So once again, we'll bring up our editor. We will go down into our Creativitoys again, and we'll place a couple triggers. 1, 2, 3, 4, and again, you would normally put these somewhere way out of the way so no one sees them. And actually, once you have got the replayer doing exactly what you wanted to, you could always even delete the triggers themselves before you were to upload it to Disney or share it with friends. Alright. So what we're going to do is same thing, repeat the process we did before. New logic connection, stepped on, player, any, and we'll start with start recording, and we'll just move right down the list once again. And again, this is going to be for the second set of townspeople. And one more. Hello. And I almost did it again. Okay, start recording. We'll bring back up our townspeople. And this time we will use, let's see, let's scroll past here. Let's use, you know what? Let's use the king costume and Cinderella. Why not? Alright, so we will put the king out here. This looks like a good spot for him. We'll place him there, and we will place, really, and actually, now that I think of it, it doesn't really matter where we're placing these two when we first plop them down, because we are just going to simply have to make them stand still and put them back where they belong anyway, but still, that's okay. Alright, so let's go give these two behaviors and make them and replace them where they belong. So we'll grab Cindy here, maybe Cindy, and we'll go back into properties and give her the standing still behavior. Alright, and we'll grab the king, It's good to be king. And we'll go down here to stand still. Since we're on him, we'll grab the king, bring him back, put him where we want him, which is right about here. That looks good. And let's do the same thing. Let's grab Cindy. Put her right there. And we'll just stand here for a second, make sure they stand still. And they are. And we are good to go. So we need one more replayer. And that's going to be for Jafar, our villain. And that'll be it for our replayers. So once again, just going to go right into our Create Pivot Toys. And we'll put this one kind of like in the middle over here. And we'll drop our replayer, and we need some switches. Uh-oh. I probably could have done better on placement on these. There we go. New logic connection, stepped on, player, any, and once again, record. Go down the row. Stop, and this will be clear. Maybe. Hello. And one more for playback. And now we honestly could have just used two switches, one for recording and one for stop recording, because we're hopefully not going to need these other two switches, but it's still kind of better to be safe. Better to be safe than sorry. Yes, that's the proper saying, right? Yeah, better to be safe than sorry. Just because in case something does go wrong, we need to clear them out and play them back. You never know. All right. So everybody's still in place. Let us go hit record so we can get Jafar out here. So we'll jump on this. You know what? Let's actually get Mickey off of that just to be safe. All right. And we'll go back up to our townspeople. And let's see. We'll find Jafar. There we go. And we'll grab Jafar. And we want him floating on this platform up here. So pretty good use of the invisible platform. And we'll put him right on. Looks like he's balancing on top of the little peak of the well in the center of town there. So that's a good spot for him. We'll place him down there. And now that we got him there, we'll stop recording. And let's go. He's already jumped off. Let's go grab him, give him his command to stand still, and place him back on the platform. And he's over there talking to Cindy. Get away from Cindy. Now, that is actually kind of glad that he did that, because I want to point out something here. Okay, let's drop him down here. Especially in the interiors, when you're messing with townspeople in the interiors, they have action called world interaction. They have a command, they have a behavior, I should say, called world interaction. And that seems to basically be their go-to action. It's what they will use above all else. It'll override just about anything. And that could be what can cause some people to have some issues when you're trying to place townspeople inside an interior and you're having a hard time keeping them standing still. That's one reason why, is because they will try to do world interaction above all else. So if they're too close to an actual item inside the inside the interior or near another townsperson, they just can't help themselves but go interact with that object or go talk to a townsperson. So keep that in mind. All right, so now we have all of our townspeople placed. We have Jafar placed. So now all we need to do is make our camera connections and some special effects, a little bit of text, and we're good to go. So first thing we're going to work on is we're going to work on our camera. We're going to work on our camera angles, our changes. So what we need to do is go back down into Creativity Toys. And we're going to need cameras and locators. So we'll start with cameras. And as is per usual, I went the wrong way. Alright, so we're going to use target cameras for this. I found that they work the absolute best for cutscenes. So what we're going to do is we want it about this height to focus on Jafar. This is going to be camera 1. And we'll back it up a little bit over these stairs here. That looks just about right. So that's going to be camera 1. So picture this. Mickey walks over the bridge. He activates the trigger area. The game cuts to camera 1, which is focusing on Jafar. Then the game. Then the game is going to cut to camera 2, which is going to actually be behind the well here. And that's going to focus on our first set of townspeople. Then we're going to have camera 3. That's going to focus on our second set of townspeople. And then we're going to actually need one more camera, and that would be camera 4, to focus on Jafar when it's all said and done, when the end scene comes up. And what we're going to do with that one is we're going to get it a little bit closer so it's kind of a little bit more dramatic, I think. So we'll place it right there. And it looks like it's a little low for Jafar, but if we raise it too high, like that looks like it would be a little bit better, but then you have a chance of cutting off part of Jafar. You'll see when we actually go to play the cutscene back what I'm talking about. So we'll drop it back down again. You know what, I wonder, you know what, yeah, let's put it down there. Let's see what happens. We'll leave it down there. Okay, so now we have all 4 cameras in place. So now we're going to go one by one. We'll make these camera connections. And let me double check these. Yeah, they're good. We'll make these camera connections. And you'll see how this all works. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we are going to go into the properties of this camera here. And we're going to go Properties. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the transition. What the transition is what kind of effect the camera has when it changes from one scene to another. So the default is cut, which is basically kind of like just a really rough, hard cut to that next camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the swing effect, which is what you saw in the beginning of the video. I like it because it's a little bit more dramatic. Gives you a little bit more of that movie feel. So we're going to go swing. We're going to turn on user-defined duration because we want to control how long the camera stays on. And we're going to go 6 seconds for this. Camera type is follow, which is fine. And transition, which is the same thing as start transition, but for when the camera is done. And we're going to say swing. And player viewpoint is triggering player, which is fine. Blow through is fine. And we're going to change camera target to connected locator. And speaking of which, we actually need some locators to connect to the cameras. So what we're going to do is we're going to, and I'm only going to place one at a time here so you can see a little bit better how it goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this right behind Jafar here. That's going to be our first camera locator. So what the locator does is it just gives the camera a target point, something to focus on when the camera is activated. So we're going to do new locator connection, and we're going to see if I can target this now that I threw it up there, which is probably not the most intelligent thing I've ever done. Can I target that locator? I can, and I just missed it. I should have done this down below. Uh-oh. Now I can't target it. There we go. And we're just going to tell it camera target. So now when that camera turns on, it's going to focus on that particular locator behind Jafar there. Alright, so now we're going to make a logic connection from this camera. We're going to say new logic connection, and we're going to say deactivated. and that in turn is going to activate camera 2. So we'll come over here and we'll tell that to activate camera 2. And then the same thing with camera 2. We're going to go under properties and we're going to assign it the exact same property. So we're going to do swing, user defined duration on, 6 seconds, follow. We'll turn this to swing as well. We'll go down here and change the camera to connected locator. And the same exact thing applies to this camera. We're going to just give it a locator. This time we're just going to place it right in the middle of the little cul-de-sac there. And as you can see, locators, you can place them anywhere you want. They have no hit box whatsoever on them, no collision box, so you can place them wherever you want. Alright, so we're going to go with this, and we're going to say new locator connection, and we're going to connect it to that locator we just placed. And we're going to say camera target. And now we're going to do the same exact process for camera 3. So we're going to go new logic connection, deactivated, and we're going to tell it to activate camera 3. Go over here. Once again, we're going to go to properties, same exact thing. Swing on, 6 seconds, swing again, and connected locator. And you can mess with the, experiment with the different types of transitions, and also you won't know what duration to give the camera until you start experimenting with it. I know that I like 6 seconds because I know that by the time I activate the delayer, finish the delayer, and activate the effects, I know that's what looks good to me. So I'm used to that. But if it's first time using cameras or you're doing a new toy box, you're not sure. You're not going to know until you start actually making some experiments. Alright, so we're going to add another locator for this one. And we don't need to go too far down for this one. This one would probably be best suited to just put it right there, right in the middle of the street. So we're going to grab this camera and we're going to say new locator connection. And we will target this locator. And we have to repeat that process just one more time. So we're going to do new logic connection, deactivated, and we're going to activate camera 4. And exact same thing with camera 4, properties, and once again, I know I sound like a broken record, but we're just going to do the same exact thing. And now we need a locator. So I'm going to show you the proper way to do this. I'm going to place it down here. And we're going to grab this. Oh my. And we're going to target the locator. I should have done this with the first one and feel kind of foolish now that I didn't, but that's okay. And now we're going to grab the locator. And we are going to move it up behind the other one. So there we go. So now just think of it as you are the director and these are your camera. These are your cameraman. So we're going to say camera 1. Then camera 1 is going to cut to camera 2. Then camera 2 is going to cut to camera 3 here. Camera 3 will go back to camera 4. And then once camera 4 is deactivated, we'll have it set so it goes right back to the default view. Alright, so that is all we need to do as far as setting up our actual camera angle changes. So now we need to add some other logic and we need to add some special effects and things of that nature. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one by one, we're going to go through how we put the special effects down. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into our Creativity Toys and we are going to find the effects generator and 2 time delayers. Alright, so we have an effects generator. And again, you would want to hide these a lot better than what I'm doing, but this is just so it makes it a little bit more clearer for the tutorial. And we want some time delayers. We actually want 2 of these. Alright, so here's what happens. What we're going to do is, once camera 2 activates and focuses on these two townspeople over here, we're going to fire off some effects and a few other logic connections. So what we're going to do is, new logic connection, activated. We're going to come over here to our first time delayer, and we're going to say start delay. And we are going to do the same thing with the second time delayer. New logic connection, activated, and tell it to start delay. And now what we're going to do with this first time delayer here is we're going to go properties, and we're going to set it to 3 seconds. And then we're going to go new logic connection, delay completed. And we're going to go over here to our effects generator, and we're going to say play once. And we're going to say small explosions, 16-bit explosions. Now, here's the thing about these effects generators, and I mentioned this actually in one of my first tutorial videos that I've ever done. I don't know why, but when you first try to make a logic connection to these effect generators, you only get a very short, small list of what is available to you, and that is a pretty big oversight, and I hope that's corrected either with a patch or when they do Disney Infinity 3.0, because it's not the end of the world, but for someone who doesn't know that there's even more hidden effects inside the effects generator, you would never know it, so you'd only be limited to those few things that you do know about, and it could affect your toy box. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this one, and I made a boo-boo, didn't I? No, it's this one. Here we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually select that link that we created, and you'll see that we have a much larger selection. And what we're going to go for here is violet energy. That's what gives you that purple smoke effect, and I think that looks pretty good. So now we change that effect from the 16-bit explosion to the violet energy. And what we need to do now is we actually need to tell the game where we want to put those effects. So we're going to put one right here in front of Carl, and one in front of the Mad Hatter. And we're putting them relative to where the camera is going to be viewed at. So now we're going to go to our effects generator. We're going to do a new, not logic, we're going to do a new locator connection. And we're going to target these two locators. And there we go. And now we're going to take our second time delayer. We're going to go under properties for that as well. Turn it to 3. And we're going to do new logic connection, delay completed. And we're going to target our very first replayer, and we're going to tell it to clear. So, what you got going on here is when this camera activates, it's going to trigger off 2 separate time delayers. These two here. One of them is going to set off the effects, and then the other one is actually going to clear send a signal to the replayer to clear, which will make it look like these two guys disappeared. And you'll notice that the time delayers are set to the exact same seconds. They're both set exactly at 3 seconds, so it looks like it happens simultaneously. Okay? And now we're just going to repeat that same exact process for the other villagers and for Jafar himself. So once again, and we'll come over here and we'll put the well, since we're on locators, let's put the locators down. And again, we want one in front of the king, and we want one in front of Cinderella. Alright, and now that we're here, we're going to go into this way. We're going to go to we need a time delayer. You need 2 time delayers and an effects generator. So we'll do 1, 2, and we need an effects generator. There we go. And again, it's the same exact principle. This is camera 2. So we're going to do new logic connection, activated, start delay, new logic connection, activated, and start delay on the second one. So we'll go over here. We'll tell this thing to go to a 3-second delay. Then we'll do a new logic connection, delay completed, and we'll go to our effects generator. And we'll say play once. Small explosion, and again I just picked the small explosion just for something temporary until we make the correction, which is this one right here. I keep wanting to go back to the camera for some reason. And once again, we're selecting the logic connection we just made, and we're going to change it from 16-bit explosion to violet energy. And now we need to go under properties for this time delayer, increase it to 3, do a new logic connection, delay completed from that time delayer to our second replayer, and we're going to say clear. So all we did was repeat the process that we did for camera 2 for camera 3. And now we got one more left to do, and that would be camera 4. So again, we need an effects generator and 2 time delayers. And this is camera 4. So why does that already... Oh. Yeah, it has a locator, dum-dum. Okay, sorry. New locator connection activated, wow. Start delay. I'm getting myself confused. New logic connection activated. And we'll target second replayer. Yeah, replayer, wow. Time delayer, and tell it to start delay. You think after I just did this twice that I wouldn't be having a brain fart. Alright, we go under properties. Set it to 3, new logic connection, delay completed, to our effects generator, play once, and again, it doesn't really matter. Small explosion, 16-bit explosion, which actually a 16-bit explosion looks really nice, I like it. But now we need to go back and edit that link that we just did, that logic connection we just did, delay completed, and we'll go down to violet energy. And now we need to do properties on this time delayer, 3 seconds once again. New logic connection, delay completed, and now this will clear out Jafar. We'll target this replayer, and we'll say clear. And now we have the effects and the disappearance of both Jafar and the townspeople. So now we need to make our logic connection to make the domino effect to make all this happen. So we already set up so the cameras go from one to another. So now we need something to start it all off with. So what we're going to do is here, we're going to go in here and we are going to grab a trigger area. And we're going to put it on the bridge. Now if you want to be on the safe side here, you need to do one of two things. You either need to make the trigger area big enough to cover any part of the whole entire area that a player might pass through in order to get to this village. So say if they don't take the bridge and they just walk across the water here, well, if they never walk through that trigger area, they're never going to trigger off this cutscene. So you either need to do one of two things. You either need to draw the player's attention to the bridge somehow and create like a pathway, tons of forest all on the side, or some kind of obstruction to kind of funnel them where you want them to go, or once again, make that trigger area box as big as the entire river there, so that way you know for a fact they're going to walk through that trigger area. But for now, for this sake, we're just going to leave it its default size on top of the bridge there. Alright, so why I walked all the way over here, I don't know. Alright, so anyway, we're going to target the trigger area, new logic connection, entered, player, any, and we're going to start the whole domino effect by telling it to activate camera 1. So, trigger area activates camera 1 swings to camera 2 swings to camera 3, then to 4, and that is it. Alright, so there's all of our cameras, there's all of our special effects, and the disappearance. So now we just need to add a few more finishing touches. One thing we're going to add is we're going to need two text creators, and we're going to need the boombox and the sky changer. So let's just grab what we see first, and that's the boombox. We're also going to need 2 text creators. They're all the way at the end here. And then we also want an enemy generator that I skipped over. There we go. We want an enemy wave generator. And now we need the sky changer. Which one? I went the wrong way. Sky changer is actually not under Creativity Toys, but it's under Instant Fun. And why am I? Oh, I'm on Platforming Toys. Sorry about that. There we go. Now it's making more sense. I'm like, wait a minute. There we go. There's our sky changer. We'll put that over here. Okay, let's start with the easy connections first. We'll go from our trigger area, new logic connection, entered, player, any, and we'll tell it to go ahead and change the sky. Or we will actually edit that sky changer, entered player any, and we will actually tell it what sky to change to. Good gravy. Alright. I'm going to use the pitch black sky because I like it. It's a dark sky. It's usable for just about any situation. You don't have to worry about, like, say, for example, another one that's kind of dark is like Above the Grid, but that's also, if you look up, it's very sci-fi. You know, it's from Tron, so it's very sci-fi. Would not fit this particular scene that we got set up here. So, new logic connection, entered, player, any, and we are going to target now the boombox. And we're going to tell it to play, in this case, we're going to say Alien Emperor Zurg, which kind of has this kind of evil sound effect to it. And now we need to set up our text creators. This first one is going to be what happens when camera 1 activates and we first get a glimpse of Jafar. So we're going to go Properties, Text Duration. We're going to give it a text duration of, let's say, 4. Text style, this is going to go to Connected Actor. And text 1, we're just going to sit there and, let's see, we'll do the same thing we did last time. So we'll do, whoops, wrong way. So we'll do, since I typed this out before it's in here, all your townspeople belong, whoops, to me. I know. I'm about to win a, you know, about to have a New York Times bestseller here. I know. Alright. And that one's done. We'll get that reviewed by Disney. And now we need to actually, oops, too far out. Now we need to actually connect it to Jafar so the text appears above Jafar. That's what Connected Actor stands for. It means the text will appear above whatever actor we connect. And we'll connect it to Jafar. And there we go. And now we need the second. Actually, technically, we could really only need to use 1 here. Let's just stick with 2. So we'll go under Properties. We'll go 4-second duration, and we will go to Connected Actor. 1 extra logic toy, but it's not gonna make or break anything. And we will do text 1, and we will do we'll just do, here we go, we'll do this. Mwah. That sounds evil and whatnot. Alright, so we'll go down here. Let Disney approve that, and we're done. So now we'll go back out 1. We'll make that same actor connection. And again, I probably should have just used 1 text creator here, but why not? Let's use 2. We got them, let's use them. And Connected Actor. Now we need to tell the text generator when to fire those off. So what we're going to do here is for camera 1, we're going to do new logic connection, activated, and it's going to tell the very first one, the very first text creator fire off text 1. And now we want to do camera 4. So we're going to do new logic connection, activated, and we will fire off display text 1. And now while we're here, since it's right next to each other, we will do new logic connection, specific line dismiss, text line 1. We'll target our enemy generator and we'll say generate wave. So what's happening is with that last bit of text, when it switches to camera 4, we focus back on Jafar. He says, you know, he gives his evil laugh. We're going to have it at the same time where he spawns some enemies for us to deal with while he while he makes his escape. And we need to go over here and adjust our enemy wave generator. So what we're going to do is we're going to go under properties, select generate a random locator. We'll leave everything else alone. Nothing else really needs to be fixed at this moment. And we will do configure wave. And what we'll do is we'll add 2 brooms and a Agrabar guard. And that sounds about right. Now we need to tell that enemy wave generator where to spawn those enemies. So what we need to do is go back into our Creativity Toys and bring out 2 more locators. I'm just going to use 2, 1 on each side of the well. And again, you could have actually made the connection closer to the wave generator and then moved the locators, but I like to make things look difficult. That's 1 spawn location. And 1 more. And now what we're going to do is we are going to make a logic connection from this enemy wave generator that when the wave is defeated, new logic connection, wave defeated, we're actually going to turn off the boombox. And we're also going to turn off the sky generator, or I should say not turn it off, but put it back to this sky here, which is the Disney Castle sky. So there you have it. That should be just about it. So we have our trigger area that comes over to camera 1, activates camera 1. And it also changes the sky and the music. We get a focus from camera 1 here. I'll highlight it over onto Jafar. And he says that he's going to kidnap all the townspeople. That then swings to camera 2. Camera 2 focuses on those townspeople. We see them disappear in a puff of smoke. That then will activate camera 3. Camera 3 will focus on these townspeople. They'll go up in a puff of smoke. Then it will go over to camera 4, which will focus on Jafar 1 more time. And he will laugh at us, and he will disappear and spawn some enemies for us to play with. And then once we have defeated the enemies, the music will be turned off, and we will go back to this. We'll go back to normal. And that should be it. If I made all the connections correctly, we should be done. So now our next and final step is that when we're pretty sure that we have everything connected here, we no longer need to make any adjustments, which I'm pretty confident in. We'll see if I'm correct or not. Ooh, I am not correct. I just realized what I forgot to do. Oh, I'm pretty sure. What did I do here? Aha! I forgot to make a locator special effect for Jafar disappearing in a cloud of smoke. Aha! I knew I forgot something. Alright, so we're going to target this. We're going to say new locator connection. And we're going to connect it to that locator. Tell it where to put the effects. And since I did such a horrible job, let's make sure that, okay, that's good. So I did that and just didn't tell the effects generator where to place the actual set effect. I'm a little out of practice, what can I say? And we're going to put that right in front of Jafar here. Now we're good. So now, anyway, as I was saying, once you think, or I shouldn't say think, if you're doing this the correct way, which I'm not doing, so do as I say, not as I do. So once you have tested everything and you got everything exactly how you want it, we're going to want to turn this trigger area off. And I always wait until I have done all my testing before I do this. So what we're going to also have happen here is once we defeat these enemies, new logic connection, wave defeated, we're going to actually also, besides putting everything back to normal as far as sky and music goes, we're going to turn off this trigger area so we don't accidentally trigger off this whole entire scenario again. We only want it to fire off one time. So that is it. That is all the connections. So what we're going to do now is we are going to save and we are going to test this out, and hopefully we did everything correctly. Or I should say, I did everything correctly. Alright, so save. I'll make a new save here just to be safe. And I already have 3, so let's do 4. And we're done. So we'll create this new save just to be safe. And now if everything is correct, we should get ourselves a nice brand new fancy little cutscene. So Mickey arrives at the village. He's going to come over here and say hi to everybody. Uh-oh. We got our music. We got our sky change. We get the camera swinging over. There goes the first set of townspeople. We should get a second camera swing. Oh my. Mwahaha. Look, Jafar's laughing at me. Do you know why he's laughing at me? Because I did a very bad thing. Alright, let's nope, wrong button. Let's reload this. Because I see what we did wrong. If you notice, I forgot to make the locator connections for those effect generators as well. I placed the locators but did not connect the actual effect.
Wow, it's you! Hiya, pal! You and me sure do make a great team.
So, new locator connection. We'll target this one, it's closest. That's the one in front of Cinderella. And another one, new locator connection. And this one that's in front of the king. Now we should be done. Let's try that one more time. And I'm not going to edit that out. It's nice to see the mistakes and how we fix them. Alright, so here we go. Lights are turned down. We get the music. We get the speech. Camera angle 1. Poof. Or I should say camera angle 2. Camera angle 3. Poof. That's much better. And over back to camera 4. Jafar laughs at us. He disappears in a cloud of smoke. And here come the enemies. Now, let's see if we did this correctly. I've been playing way too many different games here. I keep pressing the wrong buttons. Come on, Mickey. Mickey. Oh. There we go. And as you can see, we defeated the enemies. The lights come back up, and the music stops, and we're back to normal. And again, from here, you could then trigger another cutscene or have a villager explain to Mickey or somehow let the player know what they need to do next. And in this case, we could sit there and say all the enemies came out of this well. We could have use a toy box door where Mickey jumps down the well, transitions into a new toy box, a new connected toy box that would have like maybe an underground dungeon or labyrinth that you have to fight your way through to get to Jafar, defeat Jafar, rescue the townspeople, come back to the town, save the day. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it. That should wrap up this tutorial. It went a little long, sorry about that, but we kind of covered quite a bit here on how to make a cutscene. So the idea is, within the limitations that we have, to try to tell a story, try to create, a tale, a cutscene, mixture of cutscene, talking, camera angles, just trying to direct the player, make the player a little bit more involved, care a little bit more about the toy box that you created and the story that you want to have happen in the toy box. So with that, that will be the end of this video. As always, thank you for watching. I hope this helps you. And since things are going a little bit better with the game, you should plan on seeing more of these videos. And also, I know I said in my last video I'm going to be covering board games, and I still am. I was waiting for a new tripod to arrive so I could get a proper nice camera view of the board games as I go over them. So anyway, enough of my babbling. Thank you for sticking with me. Thanks for watching. Take care, and bye-bye.